Good morning. Respected Director CSIR-IMMT Dr. Ramanuj, revered distinguished scientists of IIMT who have served, given their career to this great institute, distinguished guests or your own colleagues on the dais. I see very distinguished profile-driven scientists of IIMT CSIR lab, young students, young scientists, staffs, and media persons. It's an humbling experience to address on one of the pioneering institute's foundation day. That's the CSIR lab, and the one which is very close to my heart, that is IIMT. I remember, because I belong to this place, I remember IIMT was earlier known as RRL, and I'm sure some of you would be knowing about it. In those days, we had a very few number of regional research laboratories doing pioneering work, but very silently. And the very nature of scientific pursuit is about doing silent work and creating patents and papers, but much of a reflection, much of a outspoken or outreach was not happening. But in recent times, I think post RRL getting converted to IIMT with a focused attention on metals and minerals, I think it got its due of having enough outreach. So today, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, the President of CSIR, the Vice President of CSIR, and DG CSIR, ma'am, I'm aware of the good work in terms of innovation, in terms of scientific pursuit, in terms of highest level of TRL 7, TRL 8, TRL 9 research activities that is happening, and also with the transfer of technologies. I'm aware of the fact that CSIR recently has created 2 additional verticals, A for innovation centers, and a distinguished scientist has recently been recruited to pursue single-handedly with a team the business development activities of CSIR lab under the leadership of DG CSIR, ma'am. Now, when all this is happening, and today it gives enough pleasure that we are talking about the 84th Foundation Day. We all fondly remember Dr. Professor Santeshwaru Bhatnagar, who was the architect of the CSIR construct, and what legacy he has created in terms of 34 to 39 labs all over the country. And I echo the sentiment of Director IIMT that we are everywhere across the country. And to me, in fact, what Dr. Kali said, recently we have signed 3 collaborative framework, Canada, Australia, and Russia. So we are not in India, we are also global now. Now, this creates a huge amount of opportunity for all of us. In fact, to me, though it is a bit delayed, but we have enough to do, and it's our job. But before I narrate what I would like to have my thought processes on this very occasion where R&D needs to be given the thrust, my sincere apologies for not being able to make it in last 2 years because of, I always wanted to, but because of my pressing engagements. It's always very pleasant and it's always very humbling to come here and address such an august gathering, which is having a scientific temperament. And I'm very emphatically saying the scientific temperament needs to be nurtured, scientific temperament needs to be protected, and scientific temperaments needs to be encouraged. From a research point of view, we often say that we didn't do well, we have failed. But when I draw a parallel to my organization, we are actually an explorer. Had we decided not to pursue oil and gas exploration in 1889, we wouldn't have got hydrocarbon in this part of the country, or in this part of the globe actually. And just to share a commonality of approach, when the first oil discovery happened, it happened at a depth of about 50 meters. And just to share the story of oil discovery, we had a company called Assam Railway Trading Corporation. They were laying railway line to carry coal from a place called Margarita in northeast Assam, northeast of northeast Assam, to Dibrugarh, from where inland water transport through Brahmaputra river would bring the coal to Bangladesh and to UK. So while laying the railway line using wooden sleepers, the elephants were actually engaged. So two British officers, as part of Assam Railway Trading Corporation, they noticed some black color glue-like liquid on the toenails of the elephants. And then realizing it that let's trace what it is, because they have already, by then, coal was already established, 1856. This part of the globe, we had established coal resources. And that's how the Geological Survey of India was formed. So they said that let's dig that place. And that's how the name came, Dig Boy. That's boy, please dig. So dig boy, dig. And that's how Dig Boy happened. And even today, if you go to Dig Boy, it's an international heritage site. We have thousands of wells drilled in that area. And those days, 1889 to 1901, and subsequently, we had drilled a depth of about 50 to 100 meters, and we were getting crude oil. Post-independence, then the Assam Railway Trading Corporation got converted to Burma Oil, and then post-independence, we had a JV company between Government of India and Burma Oil, and 1981, the company got nationalized as called Oil India Limited. The post-independence, the first discovery in this part of the globe, and just to give you a connotation, 1969, the first discovery happened in a place called Pennsylvania, and 1869 and 1889, it was discovered in India. 1953, we had the first discovery in Naharkatia. 1956, we had the second discovery post-independent India, Moran. Why am I sharing this with you? It's very simple. We drilled 50 meter in 1889, and today as we speak, we are drilling 5,900 meters, 6,000 meters on land. And I can tell you, we would have drilled n number of thousands of wells. And the success ratio of discovering or E&P business or the upstream part of the value chain of hydrocarbon, it's 8:1, 12:1, 15:1. The Bombay High discovery happened on the 16th well. The Barmer Fir discovery happened on the 33rd well. And the Guyana discovery that is being talked about today happened on the 47th well. Exxon drilled the 47th well to establish the first discovery, and today Guyana is having 11 billion barrels of crude oil reserve. The whole process, the entire process of these discoveries are nothing but high-end, risk-driven research activities. A similar parallel can be drawn for our pharmaceutical industries. A similar parallel can be drawn for our chemical industries or refining technology. The fundamental technology-driven refining processes would have involved multitude of efforts and iteration of processes to set up what we get these refined products of crude oil, from crude oil to petrol to diesel to ATF and the petrochemical molecules. It didn't happen overnight, and it was not supposed to happen overnight also. So to me, the iteration process of whether discovering oil, creating a molecule for active pharmaceutical ingredients, or even the virus which was as part of the pandemic we got, and the antiviral injections that we took, they all happened with relentless pursuit of, and I repeat, relentless pursuit of efforts, and not failure. When I take the privilege of addressing to the young minds and the fertile brains of the scientific community here, I strongly believe that we'll have to delete the term failure from our lexicon. And we must also encourage our younger scientists, our leadership, to have a habit of celebrating not so successful efforts. And I strongly believe that those not so successful efforts also need to be documented for posterity. As part of our exploration efforts, we always do a back analysis of the drilling wells which has been not so successful. We always do a post-drill analysis, because you don't get to see the hydrocarbon sitting at a depth of 6,000 meters. You don't have direct access. And the same principle also goes to the mineral exploration. I'll draw a parallel to the critical mineral, because that's what is the buzzword today. We don't get to see that. We have to have enough clarity in our thoughts and enough conviction in our mind. And those ideas, those innovations need to be protected. And to me, even if there is a career progression, they are the candidates to be given promotion. Please understand, as oil and gas companies, one well of drilling in deep water offshore costs us 1,000 crore. And we would drill 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. And the officers who are responsible, the geologists, the geophysicists, the drilling engineers, the safety engineers who are responsible for such drilling, are given promotion irrespective of not finding oil. While we must encourage or we must celebrate success for securing patents, we also need to celebrate success of not so successful attempts. Because without them, without those not so successful attempts, we will never be successful on our R&D pursuit. And I'm sure that is the message of the scientific ministries of this country. And it's not this country, across. Whether we see Australia as part of their pioneering efforts in terms of minerals, we see the R&D efforts of United States of America in terms of semiconductor, we see the pioneering work of our neighbors, we see the pioneering of our researchers in space, in defense. All those not so successful efforts needs to be celebrated, to be discussed, to be deliberated, to be clapped for. Now, if we do that, then I think we will create an environment for our people, for our researchers to be fearless. If they are becoming fearless, I'm sure Director IMT's job will be very, very simple. And Mr. Sanjay Kali's job will be much simpler, because he will have most important breakthroughs. Gone are the days of routine research. We are no more interested in classical research. That's required for the academics purpose, for the foundation, for the building blocks. But now it's time for advanced research. It's time for AI, ML. It's time for machine learning. It's time for being disruptor. If you can be a disruptor, you should be welcome. And today, if I am aware of the ecosystem under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, we can't ask anything better than this. All of you are part of scientific community. You know the funding that is available today is huge. The collaboration between industry and academia and R&D institutes are at the best. The need of the hour is the scientific community to make best use of it. All of you know, we have recently something created called under the Department of Science and Technology. I think Secretary DST leads that initiative called Anushandhan National Research Foundation. The budget is 1 lakh crore. That budget is not allocated by government. It is a collaborative framework which is actually creating this corpus. And as a responsible corporate, we have also collaborated. There are 7 or 8 verticals under ANRF. As Oil India Limited, we have already committed on 2 verticals. One is for the AI/ML driven exploration efforts on hydrocarbon. The second is AI/ML driven exploration efforts for critical minerals. To me, while we were very focused, and I'm sure IMT was also part of that success story, initially for the bulk minerals and the energy minerals. So we were doing oil and gas by ONGC and Oil India, and we were doing coal by Coal India, we were doing copper, we were doing iron ore, we were doing bauxite, and IMT was also aligned with that. So I am aware of the facilities here we have as part of coal beneficiation. Significant amount of work was happening here. But then in 2020, something interesting happened. And I'm sharing this because I was DG GSI then. We curated about thousands of geological reports, 3,000 to be precise. And the young recruits of GSI and then the senior leadership created a document which became the building block on which today GSI carries out all the critical and strategic mineral exploration activities. All of you would know that, and of course, in his opening remark, Director IMT also reflected on this. The critical minerals or the strategic minerals, I'm not saying that it's going to replace the oil and gas, but it's going to be the next mainstay as far as energy resources is concerned. We know its application. It has got application in defense, it has got application in space, it has got application in mobility, it has got application in high-end data processing, it has got application in health, it has got application in medicine, it has got application across the entire life cycle of any processes and systems that you name. Therefore, I feel that the pioneering effort which under the leadership of Director IMT and IMT has taken to register as one of the center of excellence under National Critical Mineral Mission is worth complimenting. And I must request all of you to clap for this moment, because this is one of the breakthrough initiative which, being part of the expert committee under the leadership of Cabinet Secretary on Critical Mineral, where I share the responsibility along with Director IMT, it's a breakthrough initiative. But we have to convert this. And that requires collaborative efforts, that requires innovative ideas. Because all of you would know, as part of R&D, it is innovation which works as a multiplier. Whether you look at wealth generation, you look at your research activities, or for anything that matter, a slight change towards a positive approach works as an multiplier, and we are looking for such multiplier proposals. I can assure you that with our corpus in place, Both Oil India having a umbrella MOU with CSIR labs. Currently, as we speak, we have collaborative frameworks with couple of labs where we are doing enhanced oil recovery initiatives. We are doing decarbonization initiatives. We are doing a very specific enhanced flow for our pipeline operations. There are discussions for corrosion preventions. There are many areas on which we can work together. For me personally, I'll be very glad to have an enhanced engagement. Couple of ideas. Being part of the oil and gas value chain, we also have diversified into critical minerals. As we speak, we have 2 blocks under composite licensing. The exploration activities has already commenced. We have got a block of graphite and vanadium. I have got 2 ideas. One, we could establish an extractive metallurgy for vanadium. The mines is in Arunachal Pradesh. I would invite your scientists to visit the mine. We have got excellent traction with government of Arunachal Pradesh. We have got MOUs in place. So extractive metallurgy of vanadium could be an idea you might consider. Second, we have also taken note that as part of anode material, as part of our refinery, we generate a lot of pet coke. Now, pet coke can be converted to active anode material, and there we foresee the natural graphite also can be added. So, the graphitization for pet coke as synthetic graphite and the natural graphite can actually have a process to generate active anode material. So, that's a thought process which I would leave behind. On a third front, we have also I'll share this. We have become the first entity to acquire a composite license of a potash block in Rajasthan. These are all polyhalides. So extraction of potash from polyhalides is also something which we wish to work on. Considering the fact that this is Institute of Minerals and Metals, I thought you were the best suited for these collaborations under the CSIR umbrella MOU. Then you also touched upon a very interesting thing, and we have already published a paper on that. As part of our production in Rajasthan fields, and we take pride because these productions come from the fields which is juxtaposed to the international border. There we produce from the Jodhpur sands below the salts, where the Jodhpur sand overlies the Malani Soot of rocks. And the geologists in the hall would know the Malani Soot of rocks are host to the REs, and lot of activities are currently being done on that. So as part of that exercise, we have collected the formation waters of all our wells. These wells are about 1600 meters deep. And those collected waters, formation waters, we have tested. There is enough enrichment of lithium. Now, how do we enhance them further? That's the thought process. We are going to do enough of drilling as part of the composite licensing, a license that we have in the potash block. Plus, as we speak, we are actually enhancing our production, both from natural gas and crude oil, so we are going to drill more. So all these wells with these lithium enrichment data, we would like to see collaboration under ANRF or any other platform to see how can we harness more lithium from this. As far as the materials stream of IMT is concerned, we would also like to have collaborations because we have an MOU with IIT Bhubaneswar. And I would urge to the scientific community Because I strongly feel that it is not competition which should drive us success. It is co-opetition which drives us success. So you could collaborate and joint proposals could be done, because that's what we would encourage on a joint research. And that's what is the kind of building block of ANRF also. So from a materials point of view, from a corrosion point of view, if you would like to have some kind of a thought process or a brainstorming session where we can depute our R&D team to have a discussion here. Further, as part of our enhanced oil recovery, and given I am taking note of your expertise, your personal expertise, we used to do a lot of polymer flooding. So as part of enhanced oil recovery, it is very essential for us to undertake pilot studies, both at the lab scale and at the field scale, polymer flooding, with various polymers, with various permutations and combinations, because the hydrocarbon molecules don't move fast. So that's another area where we would also like to have some kind of a thought process. As far as critical mineral is concerned, given the fact that we have about 7.5 lakh square kilometer of area of obvious geological potential areas, plus the new identified areas of the carbonatite complexes, the nepheline cyanide complexes, the pegmatites, the granitic bodies of the plutons, all those datas need to be studied from an AI/ML point of view. The geophysical signatures, if it is there, yes. If it is not there, we should also acquire them, supported by ground truth verifications, should also be studied, because the future is critical minerals. In fact, I strongly believe that, and by the way, we are actually carrying out exploration in this part of the country. We have got 15,000 square kilometer of area of exploration acreage in the coastal districts of Odisha, where as we speak, we are undertaking drilling of wells 3,000 meter plus. I would like to invite IMT scientists to at least have a look at it, what exactly we are doing. But in that connotation, given the fact that we are, and you rightly said so, we are actually part of a state mechanism which is bestowed with all the minerals possible that is available in this part of the country. So I'm aware that the granitic plutons that is available in this state has not yet been studied properly as part of its potential for REs or, for that matter, lithium. So a joint exercise with the collaboration with Government of Odisha can also be done for, and I am aware for some specific studies that we had done earlier in the Gangpur formation, or in the Western Odisha in Kalahandi and Koraput districts, or in Navrangpur districts. Certain studies, basic studies should need to be commenced. So these activities, I'm sure, needs collaboration with the State Directorate of Mines and Geology, the State Unit of Geological Survey of India, and IIMT's capability in terms of chemical analysis. So all the three can form an invincible force or an effort to pursue, at least in the state of Odisha. Then, of course, the entire country is there. Now, with this broad thought process, I would also like to share that all of us, as citizens of the country, has got highest expectations from the scientific community of the country. And I repeat, we have highest expectations from the scientific community of the country. I am aware that all of you across DST, DBT, DSIR, and all over the academic fraternity are doing phenomenal amount of work. But translating them, as Director IMT also said, translating them to commercialization is something which has to also to be pursued. And while I would request that it has to be pursued, I would request the leadership of CSIR lab that this has to be encouraged also. For that matter, I'm so glad that you announced that there are about 7 pilot plants that you are planned to set up, and that 7 should be 17 or 70. I mean, that's the scale we should look at. Because without that, it's not going to happen. And I would like to share something interesting on this. 2016, Honorable PM laid a foundation stone of the first 2G ethanol, which is based on bamboo as a feedstock. The initial cost number was about 1700 crore. And the technology was a Finnish technology, and it was straight from the lab. Some leadership, some scientists, they took that pioneering call because that's the time when we were working on import substitution of crude oil. All of you would know, today we are importing 90% of our crude oil requirement. That number is about 5.5 million barrels per day. And the total import bill for the country is 140 billion US dollar. Now with this, Honorable PM's clarion call was, how do we reduce our import? And one of the idea was, how do we enhance our blending opportunities in petrol? So while 1G ethanol, which is generally kind of manufactured from the sugarcane juice, there was a thrust, and all of you know, we have already achieved 20% blending mandate of Government of India. We also started something called a 2G ethanol from bamboo. Because the idea was that fuel for food and fuel controversy is not there in bamboo, in case of bamboo. It was for the first time adopted. From lab scale, it is commercialized, and Honorable PM inaugurated the foundation, inaugurated the plant, commercialization of it on 14 September of this year. The beauty is, from 1700 crore, and I take pride in announcing these numbers, from 1700 crore, the cost was enhanced to 4,920 crores. Absolutely no problem. You have to pursue these technological breakthrough. The commercialization approach, initial thought process, the IRR will not work. It's very basic. We are all part of balance-driven organizations. But the technology is such that while we are producing 2G ethanol from bamboo-based feedstock, and by the way, bamboo is a grass, it grows 1 meter per day. There are some select varieties. So the rural economy gets benefited. The per annum benefit to the farmers is 200 crore. States like Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya has got enough bamboo resources, more than 10,000 square kilometer of area coverage, and so is Odisha. I don't want to stop here. The initial IRR, when we adopt technologies, would always be considered. But then when we looked at the price points, we realized that the derivatives which were produced are furfural acid and acetic acid. And we also got green energy, we got activated charcoal, and we got also these green energies or these green elements or these green molecules export opportunities. So even after the cost escalation, the IRR hovers around 16%. Ladies and gentlemen, my idea of sharing this is, please don't give up. We have got highest expectations from the scientific community. Please don't give up. Be restless. Just get out of your comfort. If somebody is coming on the way, bypass him. I'm sure, and that's what is the message I always give to my people. Sometime you would feel disheartened that your immediate boss is not listening to you. Bypass him. Go to his next boss. He would not listen, doesn't matter. Bypass him. I'm not saying that you break your hierarchy. Administrative hierarchy has to be respected. That's how organizations are run. If you break administrative hierarchy, it doesn't work. But if you are convinced about an idea, it doesn't belong to anybody. Share it. Often we feel that it's my idea, if I will share, somebody else will take the credit. Doesn't matter. Because the head of the organization, the senior leadership, they are aware of everybody because they know who is doing what. It is absolute clear. Have trust on your leadership. Whether it is director IMT or your principal scientists or whoever it is, as per the hierarchical. And I'm sure you would have a mechanism of reaching out to your directors. You would have something called a town hall. Change. Gone are those days of remaining docile when you are convinced. Look at the way the world is operating. You must be following of the semiconductor stories. You must be following of the Chandrayaan of India. You must be following of the defense, Make in India stories of India. You must be following, and I'm saying you must need to follow that. If you are not following, please follow it. You must follow it so that you remain charged. And I'm sure IMT or CSIR gives you enough opportunities to have access to information, to have access to data. Because without that, you can't do your research. Before I conclude, one more thing which I like most about CSIR, and I had told this to DG CSIR ma'am when I had a meeting with her, and yes, we do review our MOUs, what progresses we have done, is the construct of ACSIR. The ACSIR construct is a beautiful arrangement where the senior scientists of CSIR lab translates their practice to academics, which is otherwise not available. Because our academicians in the universities don't have that luxury of doing something and then seeing its success, or having such kind of collaborative platforms which CSIR provides to collaborate and also do research program or consultancies with the industries. So that ACSIR program is something which is worth applauding. And I'm sure all the people, all the students who are getting benefited out of it, who are converting their research into doctorates, are to be recommended, are to be complimented. Now, why did I say this? Now, I see a lot of youngsters. Please understand your value contribution to the ecosystem of IMT, CSIR, or the greater cause of science for the country. The day you would give value to yourself and to your studies, the day you would realize the importance of your contribution, you will become self-motivated. I'm sure Director IMT or the leadership of CSR are doing enough. But you have to feel charged. You have to be the go-getter. You have to be the self-motivator. Then only you will be unstoppable. And that's what is required. That's what the country needs. Thank you very much.